You tried to get him if you Nancy Pelosi. You tried to get him if you Chuck Schumer. You tried to get him if you were the Dems in the Senate and the House. You tried to get him if you were the FBI. You tried to get him if you were the Department of Justice. You tried to get him. I mean, damn. Russian collusion. What happened? See, we keep talking and talking and talking. And all we see at the end of the day is that you inconvenience Donald Trump and you cause them headaches. Probably forced them to take a few doses of Motrin or Tylenol.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. We've got Stephen A. Smith asking a very important question. Am I now a Republican? What you talking about, Stephen A. Smith? Before we get into this very entertaining video, don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, watch the video all the way to the end. Now let's get into it. So I've always been looking at Stephen A. Smith with the side eye. Stephen A. Smith, you know you a DL Republican. You're saying you're an independent, but you complain so much about the Democrats. It is absolutely pathetic, okay? And you have been really giving Donald Trump a big thumbs up, but you still got to get that little thing in there where you say, I didn't vote for him. I find him divisive. I find him divisive. Well, it's divisive when people can't pay for their groceries, illegals coming across the border can't pay for gas, got to decide if they going to buy their prescription drug so that they can keep their blood pressure in check or their diabetes in check or actually eat. That's divisive. And that is the problem. So if you're going to look at the fact that Donald Trump may say things in a way that people don't like as a reason not to vote for somebody, you need help. You need Jesus. Okay. So I'm going to play part of this. I'm not going to play the whole thing, and I'm going to leave the full link to the video in the description. Check it out.
Social media with some of you, no surprises, you're just continuing to piss me off. Why? Because every time I make a comment that's critical of the Democratic Party or the left, I get accused of being a pundit for the right. Prior to the election cycle, I voiced my concerns about Joe Biden and his ability to serve as second term as president. Then Biden stepped on the debate stage in late June and revealed what many suspected. He embarrassed himself. The White House and the Democrats eventually switched to Vice President Kamala Harris when he stepped away, who ultimately ran what some would say a valiant presidential campaign, at least in the eyes of some, that ultimately fell short with voters across the country. I pointed out my concerns with the campaign and the Democratic Party along the way, and many of you wanted to accuse me of being a voice for the right. So you know what? I feel like it's time to set the record straight because ain't nobody hiding, ain't nobody running. Okay? Let me be very, very clear. I'm a registered independent because I don't trust either side. I think both sides are full of it on so many levels and so many circumstances. It's nauseating. But I also want to take a moment because a lot of people out there on social media have been saying to me, here, Stephen A., you take these positions, you're frustrated with the Democratic Party, but then you voted for Kamala Harris against Trump. Why? It's very, very simple. I believe that Donald Trump has been a divisive figure.
My question to you, Stephen A., is exactly how has Donald Trump been a divisive figure? He has not been divisive. Others have been, like Barack Hussein Obama. They have been very divisive. You know how they've been divisive? They played up the race card. They played up tragedies as it's because it's racism in America. If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. The BLM, the rise of BLM, and all these BLM leaders is full of BS. I always talk about it's racism, it's white supremacy, it's white privilege. That wasn't coming from the Republican side. That was coming from the Democrat side. That's where that was coming from. And Stephen A., I really like how you are calling out the Democrats, but what you have failed to do is adequately articulate exactly how Donald Trump is divisive. Give me dates, give me what he said, give me the full quote, not what the media put out there because they lie and spin things because they're mouthpieces for the left. So you put that out there, but think about That's just how he says things. But the prices were lower under him. The economy was flourishing. We didn't have any new wars. He ended a war. So how in the heck, in your right mind, you could still vote for the Democrats? And tell you the truth, you need help.
And I was thinking coming into this election that the last thing we needed was 4 more years of what we saw the last time, where there was so much strife and so much division that even though the economy clearly was doing well under his watch before COVID struck, it was just too much for the country to take. I was fearful of civil war in this country. It wasn't so much that he was supportive of white supremacists and he was this racist and all of this stuff like people were saying. I didn't engage in that incendiary rhetoric. It was because I knew Donald Trump before he ran for president. And black, whites, male, females, and everybody in between got along with him great. So for all of a sudden, everybody to stand up and act like he was this pariah was BS. But I was also acknowledging he didn't help his own cause. From the moment in 2015 when he strolled down those escalators with Melania, the man offended 50% of the population back then in 2015. Came across as xenophobic in the eyes of many. And it just seemed to go downhill from there. So after he served his 4 years in the White House, I didn't want to repeat all of that. But I didn't call him a racist. I didn't compare him to Nazis. I didn't sit up there and accuse him of befriending white supremacists and all of that stuff because I knew no matter what people believed, they were trying to politicize it. So when I thought about him against Kamala Harris, I said, excuse me, let me make sure Republicans are in the House and the Senate. You have somebody that's going to work with both sides in the White House and we'll have peace domestically. That's what I was thinking. But under no circumstances was I this raving supporter of Kamala Harris. I saw her during the primaries in 2020. I saw that she couldn't get to Iowa. I saw her comments about transgenders, particularly those in prison that wanted sex changes. I saw how incoherent she appeared in communicating what her objective would be when it came to the economy. I know for a fact that she was supposed to oversee the issues involving the border. Yes, like Roland Martin said, she wasn't the quote-unquote border czar, but she was perceived as such. I also saw her go on The View and categorically deny that there was any need to change anything that Biden had done, even though over 12 million people crossed the border illegally, and you were acting like there was no border crisis. I saw the duplicitous tendencies. I saw the inconsistencies. I also saw the hypocrisy. And as the election came about and ultimately unfolded, and I saw Donald Trump win convincingly. No, he did not get 50% of the popular vote, as the Democrats are so quick to point out. My attitude to them is shut the hell up. Nobody wants to hear that now.
They didn't either, clearly.
Who cares whether he got 50% of the vote or not? He beat you in the popular vote and the electoral college vote. He swept the swing states. He improved his numbers in every demographic imaginable. Blacks, Hispanics, women. He beat you. And the American people spoke, and they spoke flagrantly. And from that moment forward, I'm like, damn all of that. We're going to support the fact that he won the presidency. And I'm going to tell you where I'm at with it. And that doesn't mean I'm going to become some registered Republican because I still find them a bit shaky. But when I see Attorney Bragg in New York trying to convince the judge and the courts to treat Donald Trump as if he's deceased, as if he has died, just to make sure that your convictions on those 34 felony accounts remains a part of the record. It just shows another level of patheticness, if that is such a word, that creeps in. Once again, you can't let it go. He is the president-elect of the United States of America. In January 20th, he is going to be the president of the United States. And you want to sit up here and waste taxpayer dollars and literally go before the courts to do everything you can to make his conviction a matter of record, knowing he ain't going to get any jail time. You're not going to be able to incarcerate him. You're not going to be able to fine him. Sir, it's over. It's over. Democrats, it's over. It's over. I'm going to say this before and I'll say it again. You know what I would do if I were Joe Biden, President Joe Biden? Especially since I basically gave the Democratic Party the finger because you kept saying, we follow the rule of law, we follow the rule of law, we follow the rule of law. And then you went and you circumvented all of that to get to pardon your son, Hunter. Since you were willing to do that, if I was President Joe Biden, I would pardon Donald Trump. I'm going to say it again. I would pardon Donald Trump for one reason and one reason only, to move the hell on. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. You tried to get him if you Nancy Pelosi. You tried to get him if you Chuck Schumer. You tried to get him if you were the Dems in the Senate and the House. You tried to get him if you were the FBI. You tried to get him if you were the Department of Justice. You tried to get him. I mean, damn. Russian collusion. What happened? See, we keep talking and talking and talking. And all we see at the end of the day is that you inconvenience Donald Trump and you cause them headaches. Probably forced him to take a few doses of Motrin or Tylenol. That's all you did. You ain't doing anything else to him. He is back in the White House next month. All that shit y'all did, all the stuff you pulled, you had your surrogates out there, your pundits out there, you engaged in lawfare, you did everything. And you convinced the American people, yo, his ass belongs in jail. And where he going instead? Back to the White House.
White House. He's going back to the White House. I love how Stephen A. Smith is I see a lot of other people saw that too. So you can't just talk to people like we're stupid. Okay, we know how to go dig a little. We remember how things were under Donald Trump and how incompetent Kamala Harris seemed and how bad things are right now. And the thing that really boggles my mind is that the current administration is not even trying to leave on a good note. They're doing everything, getting rid of the border walls, selling it for pennies on the dollar. They are doing everything, trying to keep this as a matter of record. Why? Extending the statute of limitations. These people are sick and desperate, and it has gotten you absolutely nowhere.
So, of course, when you see that preponderance of evidence that ultimately hits us, with the reality is that no matter how hard you try, whatever mechanisms you put in place, whatever, tactics you utilize, it all amounted to nothing. Joe Biden, they caught him sleeping at an African conference in Angola. Donald Trump wide awake, going back to the White House. Peggy Noonan, an outstanding columnist for the Wall Street Journal, wrote about the unprecedents that exist with a president-elect who's usually chilling. They're normally only making news when there are headlines announcing their cabinet members. Yet Donald Trump is walking around like he's president now.
Amen.
In France recently, for the reopening, the Notre Dame Cathedral, talking to Zelensky for Ukraine, no doubt Putin for Russia, talking to Benjamin Netanyahu with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Look at what is happening. Every time there is substantive stuff to talk about in the world of politics, Donald Trump's name is the headline instead of President Joe Biden.
And I'm going to stop it right there. That should tell you something. Who is the real leader type? Who is the real alpha male? Oh, ain't nothing short about him. Nothing short about Donald Trump, honey. He's about business. And he wants us to be united as a country. And you know about the divisiveness that Stephen A. mentioned is really because of the media. It wasn't Donald Trump himself. It was the fact that these are Democrat operatives, the media, Democrat operatives for the Democrat Party. These people are saying what the Democratic Party wants them to say. You see what I mean? I mean, that's just, and people started to go, wait a minute. They're using the exact same words. He's a threat to democracy. Oh, he's dangerous. Oh, no one's above the law. Everybody, no matter which channel you turn to, no matter which left-leaning station or network or online newspaper article you saw, it was actually the same exact verbiage. That should have let somebody know these people are reading from a script. They actually are. And he's headed back to the White House, handling business, meeting with leaders. And that's what we want. He's doing the things I want him to do. Bringing prayer back and religious freedom, a secure border, the things that I personally care about. Not putting drag queens in the school. If you teach any of that twang stuff, you won't get any money. Oh, I'm all about it. And making a fair media. And then on the cherry on top, the health situation with the food, with RFK handling that, and the vaccines and pharmaceutical companies dismantling evil powers that be. Oh, and the real cherry on top for me as a content creator is that no shadow banning. I did a video about that. He said no shadow banning. Oh, I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. My new show, The Linda B Show, premieres tonight, December 17th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. And it's called The Linda B Show. Just search in the search field of YouTube. It'll come up. Click on the video. Thank you all so much. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.